uri vai gangakan tu sa venging. Ula suna na mayata gadu ang aruk asunashi. Ula jena namasan idajay varung semnay. Uli na namakuda sun jamuk. Ula na papsusu asu varung. Mamamamaw jay vuvu.
Hi and welcome to In Taiwan We Speak, your audio guide to Taiwan's mind-blowing linguistic diversity. I am Alexander Shin, and our today's guest is Ljius Kulivu, a professional English Mandarin translator and a Paiwan activist who's passionate about revitalizing and promoting his ancestral Paiwan language. Hi Ljius, and thank you for being here.
Hi Oleg, I'm very honored to be here.
So tell us please, what was the text that you just read for us about?
Okay, so the text is from a music album released in the from the Ujung. Ujung is a Paiwan singer. And the meaning of this, I'll read it to you. Should I?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
So it says, I'll be departing tonight. May your life be enduring like the mountains. Together in our language, let's raise our voice. Blood no divide. Let our unity rejoice. Pursue your purpose. We are a community.
So you mentioned it's from the Paiwan artist named Ujung.
Yes, a singer.
Is this in Paiwan language in a dialect that's familiar to you?
It's familiar to me, but I really don't. It's quite close to my community. The dialect they speak. Yeah,
I see. So to give our listeners a bit more context on the Paiwan language, Paiwan is the second most spoken indigenous language in Taiwan, and like all of Taiwan's indigenous languages, it is a member of the Austronesian language family, and is one of the so-called Formosan languages, which is named after Taiwan's historical name Formosa.
Mm-hmm.
And Paiwan is the native and ancestral language of more than 100,000 Paiwan people living in the mountains areas of Pingdong and Taidong counties.
Yes.
In southern Taiwan, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that place, the mountains between Pingdong County and Taidong County, is that the homeland of Paiwan people?
Yes, the mountainside and also some plain area in the past where like Paiwan people have control over some plain area. Yeah.
And is that also where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from the mountain of Juskatan.
Juskatan.
Yes.
Is there a certain meaning to the name of the Juskatan area?
So Juskatan, it means a central place, a place in the middle. So Juskatan is located in like two big communities in the past, in the mountains. Yeah. It means in the middle. And also, it's very interesting when you see like the Paiwan area, Juskatan is in the middle.
Oh,
just in the middle, yeah.
So you can say it's the heart of the Paiwan
Could
homeland.
be, yes. Yes.
So is the area where Paiwan people traditionally live also divided into the so-called mountain indigenous townships?
No, not in Paiwan area. Paiwan area is all mountain indigenous townships.
Oh, it's entirely?
No, it's entirely mountain. Yeah.
And to give our listeners a little bit more context on these, Taiwan administers the so-called mountain indigenous townships in areas where indigenous people traditionally live within the mountain areas. Could you tell us more about what this kind of designation is?
I think that is more of a political designations because in our legislature we have 6 indigenous reserved slots, and among the 6, and the government believed that we have some indigenous people living in the plain area, so we have got 3 seats for 3 legislators and another 3 for people living in the mountain area, and that's basically because of the politics.
Yeah. Also just to make voting easier.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. And so Juveskadan, your native community, could you tell us more about this place?
So Juveskadan, it's a very interesting place. Was firstly all like documented by the Dutch in like 16 something. Yeah, 16 something when Dutch visited Taiwan, and then still during many years that the Ljius Garden has been there for more than 400 years, because a lot of Paiwan community, like in the past, they cease to exist. Like, no houses anymore, and people move to other places. But Ljius Garden is still there intact, without electricity. But we have houses there, and then use like slate stones. So Ljius Garden, the old community. Okay, I'm talking about old Ljius Garden. I'm living in a new Ljius Garden. So the old Ljius Garden is one of the best preserved indigenous homeland of Taiwan. Yeah.
And you lived there until how old?
So basically, the community, Ljius Garden, was moved by the government, by the KMT, early KMT, when it came to Taiwan to get better control of indigenous areas. So it was forced to move to a valley side in 1951, and then to a valley side, and then like people lived there for 10 years, and the typhoon came, destroyed everything. After 10 years, they have to move to a new place, and they found a place in a plainer area called New Ljius Garden, and the village established, the community established since 1971. And I was born like many years after that. But I was brought up by my grandparents, and my grandparents still had a house in the old town. So I grew up there like many days a week, spend my time there in the old town, and like back and forth, New Ljius Garden, old Ljius Garden, like that, until people, there are people still living there. But for me, I spent a great amount of childhood there in old Ljius Garden. Yeah.
So it was your grandparents' generation who had to move from Chuveskatan to the new Chuveskatan,
Yes.
right? And did the people who move like this manage to preserve their community and culture and language when they moved?
Yeah, they managed to do that. Actually, it also go back to the policies, like early KMT, that
Right.
Like the government banned dialects in school in many places, right? So, but at home, people still speak Paiwan, and the Paiwan was a dominant language among the community at the time in the 60s, 70s. Yeah. So yeah, still, and the language brought up, with us, with the as we moved.
You mentioned that Chuveskatan is like in the heart of this, let's say, Paiwan Homeland,
Yeah.
right?
It's more of like, I'm not sure about Paiwan Homeland, because I think they're older community there. But Ljius Garden geographically is in the center of the Paiwan land.
All right.
Yeah.
And how many townships does the area cover? Area where Paiwan
Yeah,
people live?
Paiwan people live is around, Pingtung side is around 9 townships, and then Taidong 3, 4. Yeah. So maybe 13. Yeah.
When you go there, do you see a lot of Paiwan people, or does it feel more mixed? Like there's people from diverse ethnic backgrounds living together?
In Ljius Garden, it's still predominantly Paiwan, but you can see some people who lived in New Ljius Garden. They Han Chinese people. They lived there for a long time. Actually, they came there before we moved down. So, and then people who were in New Ljius Garden before us, they were doing business with local indigenous communities who are Paiwan. So a lot of people, some people, they can speak Paiwan fluently, even though they're Han Chinese.
Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting.
Yes.
So at some point, Paiwan was the main language
Yes.
of inter-ethnic communication?
Yeah, at that time. Yeah, still somehow it's more Mandarin now. Yeah.
And you mentioned you lived there as a kid with your grandparents, right?
Yes.
Did you learn your Paiwan language mainly from them?
Yes, mainly from then. And, I used to listen and listen to them speaking Paiwan all the time. And also listen to older people in their generation speaking Paiwan. Yeah.
And what is the language situation currently in that area?
I think Paiwan is slowly getting, not get used that much. And Mandarin is the dominant language, but you can still hear Paiwan in daily life with other people. We have 100,000 Paiwan people, right? Among them, 15,000 are to be believed native speakers of Paiwan, and who are like older generations, and people in their 50s and 60s, they speak Paiwan not necessarily natively. They speak Mandarin. And right now, it's Mandarin as a dominant language, but you can still hear people speaking Paiwan in some important events like weddings, or like funerals, and also church and traditional rituals. Yeah,
So it's those kind of settings where language is better preserved.
it's better preserved, and it's only the language the especially like traditional ritual. It's only Paiwan. There's no Mandarin in it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But your generation then, do Paiwan people of your generation, so on the younger side,
Yeah.
Speak Paiwan today?
Not really.
Not much.
Not much. There are some speaking Paiwan, but not so many speaking it as their native language.
It reminds me of my own family situation because I'm Korean Ukrainian, right?
Yeah.
But my parents already grew up basically not speaking Korean.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have certain words and concepts and, some cultural items, food names that are still, we call them in the Korean language.
Yeah.
So does that exist in Paiwan culture, even when people don't speak the language fluently?
Yeah, of course. Like some special food, like chinavu. Chinavu is a like a traditional Paiwan food we'll eat, like in a special event in the past. But right now you can get it every day in Yuskatan.
Is it the rice stuffed with meat?
Yeah, it's like a millet stuffed with meat,
All right.
or like a pounder taro stuffed with meat and then with the leaves, and you can eat it. Yeah, it's just like a dumpling. Yeah.
When you talk to your, let's say, relatives or older people in the community, do you also try to speak to them in Paiwan?
When I was a kid, not really, because when I was a kid, my elders are speaking Paiwan, like 100%. But when they talk to me, their language automatically changed into Mandarin, a very accented Mandarin, and I don't know why. And then sometimes they will ask me, "Do you understand Paiwan? Do you speak Paiwan?" with in Paiwan language, and then later next sentence became Chinese. So it's like it's very interesting. And then I try to talk to them like later on in life, and then because I need to communicate with them, some elders, yes, and they kind of recognize that I can really speak some Paiwan language with them. Yeah.
Even though they themselves were hesitant to speak to you entirely in Paiwan.
Yeah, and also my parents too. When they talk to me, it's Mandarin in like a Taiwanese Mandarin, but the Mandarin that is like when my parents were kids in school, dialects are banned.
Right.
So their Mandarin is like relatively better, much better, because that's their first language.
And by dialects, you mean, of course, any language.
Yeah,
in
any
Taiwan
language,
other
also
than
Taiwanese
Mandarin.
languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hakka and other forms of indigenous languages. Yeah.
That's quite an upsetting situation, I would say, in terms of language, right?
Yeah, it was, and it is quite sad to see like why people, elders at the time wanting their kids, grandkids to have a better education, meaning go to school, regular school taught in Mandarin, only Mandarin, and that represents job opportunities, stuff like that. That was quite sad when I think about that, but I think things changed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Different.
things change. So that's it for today, and I know you might feel like this was not enough, but don't worry, we're not ending our conversation just yet. Join us next week to hear more of what Ljius has to share with us. In the next episode, we will talk about things that make the Paiwan language so fascinating and unique, as well as about efforts that the Paiwan community is making to ensure that their language stays alive and keeps thriving. Thank you so much, Ljius.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Oleg, and this was In Taiwan We Speak, your audio guide to Taiwan's mind-blowing linguistic diversity. See you next week.